Hello, it's just Rachel here on another Sunday morning. Going to do a bit of car unwitnessing, so I'll show you what I've got today. So they have to stop at this intersection, so hopefully they give a good look. So this little sign, "Fully Trust the Slave," is based on the March JW broadcast, where Garrett Loesch says that you can fully trust the slave, just like you fully trust Jehovah and Jesus. And this is contradictory to what the Bible actually says, which is don't put your trust in men. So I'm hoping that this doesn't blow over. Put some weights on it and some tape. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, beautiful sunny day here, absolutely gorgeous. And I realise I've got my phone around the wrong way. Never mind, doesn't matter. Just makes it more difficult for me to stand it up anywhere. I don't know if I can. Maybe I'll just hold it. Anyway, yes, I hope any witnesses driving past today will take notice of what I've written there. Because basically, if the governing body is saying that you can fully trust them, and the Bible says not to put your trust in men, then are they saying that they're not men? That they're somehow above men, other men, imperfect men? Yet they keep going on about how imperfect they are when problems and flaws get exposed within the organisation. So one thing I think about is Herod. Remember King Herod back in the 1st century, and I can't remember what happened, but the people were all clamouring and saying, "A God's voice and not a man's," and giving him praise as if he was a god. And what happened to him? Well, it says he expired and was eaten up by worms, something like that. So that should be a warning to the governing body, who seem to elevate themselves above being mere mortals. I mean, there's so many scriptures that warn us about putting all our trust, our confidence and faith in imperfect men. So what I do today is I just want to, when I attended my judicial committee meeting back in 2013, so 5 years ago now, what date was it? Do you know, I can't even remember exactly. I can't even remember what month it was. I think it was June. So maybe coming up to 5 years since I was a scholarship. But when I went into my judicial meeting, I took in a thing I printed up, and I gave them a copy each. And one of the things, one of the sections in it, I had little subheadings. I had, "Who am I dedicated to?" And then I quoted page 183, paragraph 24 and 25 of the Bible Teach Book, which said, "Remember too that you have made a dedication to Jehovah God himself, not to a work, a cause, other humans, or an organisation." So I was trying to stress to them that I wasn't obligated to just blindly follow these men leading the organisation. And then I had a whole lot of scriptures that tell us to, warn us not to put our trust in men. I think they're starting to leave now from the meeting. Anyway, so this is what I wrote. It's fairly brief. I just cited the scriptures. I didn't actually read them, print them all out. "I must keep working out my own salvation with fear and trembling." Philippians 2:12. "This means I do not surrender my thinking over to men who can be in error. Salvation does not belong to men to give." Psalms 146 verse 3. Do not become slaves of men, 1 Corinthians 7:23. Test the inspired expressions, 1 John 4:1. The spiritual man examines all things, but is not examined by any man, 1 Corinthians 2:15. Many deceivers have gone into the world, 2 John 7. They will mislead, if possible, even the chosen ones, Matthew 24:24. All men are liars, Romans 3:4. Anyone inexperienced puts faith in every word, Proverbs 14:15. Men are suppressing truth, Romans 1:18-25. If men declare something beyond the good news, they are accursed, Galatians 1:8. Do not go beyond the things written, 1 Corinthians 4:6. Add nothing to his Jehovah's word, Proverbs 30:5-6. Examine the scriptures to see if these things are so, Acts 17:11. Put away falsehood, speak truth, Ephesians 4:25. Do not be shaken from your reasoning, 2 Thessalonians 2:2. Use thinking abilities and discernment, Proverbs 2:10-11. So all these scriptures, I believed, were legitimizing my challenge, if you like, of the doctrines of the governing body. I mean, it's quite plain, isn't it, in the scriptures? Not to just go along with what someone else tells you, and to fully test things out, check them out, be cautious. So, yeah. But they don't really allow you to do that, do they, as a Jehovah's Witness? You stick to the authorised material, as I think it might have been Anthony Morris might have said that. Stick to what we've authorised. I'll just read a little bit more of what I've got here. I have a little subheading that says, is it wrong to question our beliefs? Not according to the Awake magazine of July 2009, which said, since our Creator wants us to search for truth, it cannot be wrong to act on the evidence that we find, even if this means changing our religion. No one should be forced to worship in a way that he finds unacceptable or be made to choose between his beliefs and his family. Which is exactly, of course, what the organisation does. They do make you choose. If you no longer agree with some of the teachings and you happen to mention that, end up in a judicial committee meeting, end up disfellowship for apostasy because you no longer agree with some of the things of the governing body, then you will find that you lose your family and your friends. So Jehovah's Witnesses do exactly what they say shouldn't be done here. I go on to say, the same magazine says the Bible tells its readers not to believe everything they hear, but to test the inspired expressions to see whether they originate with God. For example, any teaching that truly originates with God must be in harmony with his personality, including his dominant quality of love. I remember when I read that in the magazine, and that put up red flags for me, because I could clearly see that there were teachings we had that seemed to be very inconsistent with God's quality of love. For example, slaughtering 7 billion people at Armageddon because they don't agree with the interpretations of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. To me, that is not an expression of love, is it? No. Okay. Yeah, I had a few other things that I put in here, and one of them was if you haven't read it already, sorry, I keep going off the screen, the transcript from the Welsh trial back in 1954, and Brother Covington and Brother Franz, who was the Vice President at the time, were in court, and they were defending the right of the brothers to object to military conscription, on conscientious grounds. And basically, there's a transcript available online. I do recommend that you go and look up Welsh Trial 1954 and read it. And basically, it showed that it was more important to the organisation to be united in believing in falsehood than to be accurately seeking and teaching the truth. Crazy. People were disfellowshipped for not believing something that later turned out to be untrue or a lie. And the brothers actually, that they were asked whether a person who was disfellowshipped for not going along and accepting and believing what the president was teaching at the time, who were disfellowshipped, they were asked whether they were worthy of death. And the brothers said that they were worthy of death, even if later on it came out that what they were disfellowshipped for, not accepting, was actually untrue. So